Joined by our good friend, NFL Network host Colleen Wolfe, and most importantly, she is shoe guru, fellow sneakerhead, my girl with the fresh Carolina Blues over here. We're showing off the sneaker game.
Oh my gosh, I mean,
today.
these are the most beautiful fours I've seen, and now, Larra, I feel like I have to buy them, and unfortunately, I don't have room. I don't need them, but I do need them.
Think about how good they would look, though. I mean,
they look awesome.
They're so versatile.
It's already been done. It's been written.
Hesitated on buying them because they might be a little. Well, I thought they might be a little too chunky, but
oh no,
they work. They work.
Look at
this is what the people really come here on the official Colts podcast to hear us talk about our sneaker game. But seriously, you have been living out of your suitcase. You've been bouncing around. You've been going to training camps. You were in Canton for Hall of Fame, and now you are back here in Westfield.
Yeah.
This woman just got off of 4 hours of live television, like full tilt production here, live at camp. But you guys did get to dip in and cover the early portion of practice.
Yeah.
You had a ton of guys after practice who you talked to. What conversation stood out of the guys who you guys were able to talk with on NFL Network today?
So all of them, first of all, but Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah.
Talking to him just in general about the younger guys and how he kind of went from being a first-year player to all of a sudden looking around and, I'm the leader.
Yeah, you're the elder statesman now.
Yeah, that needs to take everyone under my wing. And then, of course, as you had mentioned to me about his farm, which I had
Which
no
we
idea
kind of feel like we were on the
about.
farm right now.
Wait, well, there is.
There's a farm right there.
There's roosters that are wreaking havoc all over the media center, not inside. They are outside. But he was so funny talking about, because I don't know anything about farm life. And
You're a Philly girl who now lives in LA. So
exactly.
Like
farms just never were in the Venn diagram of things. And Pittman was just like, you could just see how much he loves it. And when he started talking about how he works on the farm and how he loves waking up in the morning when the sun is coming up and all of the animals are looking at him, like ready for him to feed them, and like how tranquil it is. It kind of felt like it was part of the Calm app, like it was some type of meditation that he was kind of working us all
like
through.
Soothing.
Yeah, I was like, do I need a farm? Do I need to go to a farm now? Like live out the rest of my days like family dogs do, go to the farm? I don't know. But yeah, that was really cool. And of course, Anthony Richardson, I've heard him talk before, but I've never actually interviewed him in person. And I did not know how great of a voice he has, first of all. I would like to know, I wish I asked him if he can sing. Do you know if he can sing?
Well, he raps.
Well, he raps.
So he does. So, I mean, he obviously has vocal ability.
What about like a crooner?
I am at this point convinced that there isn't much Anthony Richardson cannot do.
He can do it all. That's true.
That's what I'm going to go with right now.
Yeah.
If he wanted to sing, like, actually, Al Michaels, I overheard this during the preseason last year. He was like, hey, if you want to do some voiceover work, I can connect you with the right person.
Wait, I said that as soon as, well, I couldn't connect him with the right person, but I was like, you should be doing voiceover, as if he's not like, he doesn't have a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm like, you know what you should do here? Let me pull up a chair. Let me give you some career advice.
But it's also like, that voice was meant to be heard in a huddle.
I know.
Like,
yes, you're right.
This is what you're destined for.
1,000%. And then talking with Kenny Moore about how he's able to perform at such a high level at the position that he plays in, like one of the best nickel corners.
Yes.
And he was saying that he kind of feels in a way like a pioneer. And so now I feel like maybe we start to call him the Pioneer. Maybe that is a nickname that can be adopted for the 2024 season.
And then the other guy that you were able to talk to, you know, the anchor on the defense, the veteran alongside Kenny Moore, but the guy up front, and DeForest Buckner, and the continuity on this defense is so significant. The big offseason addition for that defense, Latu. What were DeForest's impressions of the impact that this D-line can have this year when you also have, you know, that confidence in the back end with what Kenny is doing in that group in the secondary?
He was gushing, DeForest was, over Latu, and the way that he just comes screaming off the edge.
Yeah.
And he's just a rookie, so it's only going to get better from here. DeForest was awesome just about all of the players that Chris Ballard was able to retain and reward and bring back. I love that the Colts are that type of organization that rewards their own players, because you see it happen all the time where they don't. And I just think that that really adds to this atmosphere that is in Indianapolis. And it's such a big deal in the locker room when the front office this is respecting the players that are that are already on the roster, that are homegrown, and that now can stay. It's a really cool, different vibe that's here in general.
You mentioned the vibe because you were here last year during the preseason.
I feel like I've been here almost every year.
You really have. You've been here a lot. That's what we do. We actually call your bosses and make sure that you get at least one trip here, so we get to hang out and talk shoes and all these things. So, but how much of a different feel is it when you're here and it's this new season, a second with head coach Shane Steichen? The quarterback position has been, solidified and determined. You have, Anthony Richardson starting, and this is, the first time in a while the Colts have started a season 2 consecutive with the same quarterback. Jonathan Taylor is wrapped up. Yep. He is having, I think, more fun than what we have seen in a lot of time just based on being healthy and knowing the guys around him. I mean, what are your impressions of kind of really how relaxed it's been? Like, practice is super sharp, really fast paced.
Is it, so just because I've only been here for like 1.5 practices, does it seem like it's just looser in general? Like, because that's exactly what my first thought was, that it doesn't seem like anyone is really tight, and it's like, yes, there are competitions and people are like getting a little chippy here and there, but like that feels healthy. I think in general, just like the overall personality of this training camp is just like loose and fun, and people are enjoying themselves, and it feels really optimistic because you have Anthony Richardson back healthy, because Jonathan Taylor is not being held down by the injuries that he had to start last season and the lingering contract stuff that was going on with him. It just seems like there's no drama. And that is such an important thing for a team to start off the year. And they have so many fun, good, talented pieces on both sides of the ball.
And you're being a Philly girl. You closely watched Shane Steichen and his career with the Eagles. What to you, in watching last season unfold, like, what did you look at when you saw it and you're like, Shane Steichen is a head coach, this is the team, he's the right guy? At what point was it like definitive?
It was when Gardner Minshew was able to be as successful as he was, and it felt like this team, like everyone, they were just galvanized, and you could tell Shane Steichen really was the brain of the operation with the way that he was scheming things up. And the second half of the season with Jonathan Taylor, how much he came on, how strong he was, and it was like he got his reps in. All of like the injuries were behind him. Yes, he had the thumb injury but it was just like watching him really accelerate and seeing the success that this team had. The fact that they were like 15 yards away from winning the division, getting into the playoffs with a backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew, that just speaks volumes of how talented this coaching staff really is.
And that's one thing that, in having a lot of conversations over the last few weeks, we have always known that Shane coming in is so level. Like, he keeps everything very even. And Chris Ballard had talked about that even, before Anthony was named the starter a year ago, that's something that Anthony is well equipped with, that he rides that, he doesn't get too high or too low. He stays incredibly consistent. And I think that has put this whole group in a great position, because it's unique when you have a head coach and a quarterback, especially a second-year quarterback this young, that matched that just, level of steadfastness. Like, there's zero flinch in either. And I think that's a pretty unique dynamic between that type of duo.
And I kind of got the impression with Anthony Richardson that he is so young, and yes, he doesn't have a ton of experience in the NFL or in college, but the way that he carries himself and this presence that he has, it's like you just know it's like he's an old soul, first of all, and I would trust him, and I don't even really know him. There's just something about him that puts everyone at ease, like a room at ease, and his confidence is kind of contagious, and it really is just cool to see it in person and then feel the way that he makes everyone else feel around him.
Well, we probably gotta let you go because I think you have a date over at Pittman's Farms. He wants you.
I wish.
He wants you to
Gotta
come
go bale some
clean
hay,
the
I don't know.
stalls. Like it's it's time to check the chicken coop and see the
I
emu.
would love some fresh eggs. I'm not gonna lie.
I've had them and they are spectacular. They're so delicious.
There's nothing like a fresh
We'll get you
egg.
back in town.
Great.
We'll make sure that this happens. Terrence the alpaca will be delighted to greet you. I am very sure. So
I'm gonna be starstruck, so I don't know if I'll be able to handle myself.